Well, let's start. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Technology Track for this virtual meetup of business leaders from Colombia and Singapore. I guess tech top of mind of everyone, not just in Colombia and Singapore, but also everywhere in the world. My name is Ken. I'm a CEO of a Singapore company called Crimson Logic. We provide digital solutions. We have been operating in Latin for the last 20 years and presence over 7 countries. We are now looking to see what we should do with Colombia. I think that's part of Gustavo's challenge. I think I've asked him to have a look at it and see what else we can do there. I have the honor of moderating this interesting panel on technology today. I'm joined by Benjamin Line, Regional Director of Enterprise Singapore, Stefan Cradwell, General Partner, Latin Leap, and Mauricio Arias, Partner Technology Consulting from PwC. Looking forward to have an exciting discussion with all of you as we dig a little deeper into the opportunities for Colombian and Singaporean companies in tech. So I know we're going to be short of time, so let's start by kicking off by asking Benjamin to say a few words for himself and also to share his thoughts on the matter.
Okay, so hi, I'm Ben, and I work for Enterprise Singapore. So Enterprise Singapore, for the Colombians here, is really kind of like Pro-Colombia and Impulsa. We have 2 main functions. The first function is to help Singapore companies internationalize. The other is to connect the ecosystems of Colombia and Singapore, the innovation ecosystems. So I think whenever we work with startups from Singapore or from Colombia, we hit both objectives quite easily. And that's why we are here today. I think one of the things that is very interesting for us, especially for startups, and you know, Colombia and Singapore, we are very far apart. But for startups, there are many similarities between what Singapore companies are looking for as well as what Colombian startups are looking for. I think it makes a lot of sense for startups to partner with each other, even though they are from different parts of the world. And today, I think we are going to explore this topic a bit more.
Thanks. And with that, I mean, just nice is we have Stefan with us. So Stefan, why don't you talk a little bit about what we can do with startups?
So yes, thank you so much. My name is Stefan, as you were saying. I'm usually Colombia-based. I have been a tech entrepreneur in the region in Latin America for the past decade. And at Latin Leap, which is the venture capital studio that I'm running, we have specialized in connecting tech companies in the E2E space, emerging market to emerging market. And we have up to date probably an accumulated more than 10 Singaporean tech businesses that in one way or the other have ventured out to Latin America through our support. And so we've gained some insight and what works well and the do's and the don'ts and so forth. And so we're always eager to connect with players in the ecosystem and see how we can facilitate market entry into Latin America for Singaporean tech scale-ups. Latin Leap has basically 2 activities. One is a investment activity. So as a VC firm, we like to take a stake in the companies that we actively, what we call, soft land into the region. So this is one arm, so to speak. And then the other one is a commercial activity for those companies that are mainly looking for market entry and commercial connection in Latin America. We're able to help here, and Colombia is in fact a home base. So happy to contribute to this conversation.
Great, thanks, Stefan. And maybe to round up the picture, perhaps we could invite Mauricio to share his remarks. Let's talk about what is Colombians looking from Singapore, and what do you need in tech? Mauricio, what do you?
Yeah, hi everyone, and yes, basically our firms, our companies are facing different challenges regarding technology, regarding digital transformation. So basically, there are several needs that our companies are trying to challenge and to solve. Basically, after all the pandemic situation and how this impulse or started all the digital transformation in the companies. Most of the companies here are looking of different ways to have a better architecture, a better orchestration, a better integration between their technologies, their process, their people, in order to create more value and to generate growth to their companies. So basically, regarding technology, the companies are trying to have a better value regarding their IT technology investments. And this involves different topics. For example, cloud transformation is one of the topics that all the companies are looking for, and moving from the on-premise architecture to cloud innovation and service is one of the main priorities. Cybersecurity and risk management is another hot topic here, because for sure, if you don't have the proper controls and the proper trust, it is impossible to achieve this value from your digital initiatives. So cybersecurity and risk management is an important topic here as well. Another point is legacy modernization. And that's something that is really important for many companies, because we may have some old systems that are facing a lot of challenges, and finding ways to renovate, replace, or enhance this old platform is critical for many businesses, and how to integrate these platforms with the new emerging technologies is critical as well. The other point is, and this is a common topic for many countries, but here in Colombia is an issue too, is to find the right skills and the right workforce, because there is generally speaking, a lack of specialized resources. So there is a lot of mobility, a lot of it's difficult to have these specialized resources in your company operating in new models. So that's a really high challenge for our companies too. And last but not least, like the new reality involving hybrid work is an important challenge here as well. So basically, we are combining remote work with returning to the offices, and how to be able to find ways to have a better integration, better productivity for our workforce is really important as well. So these are some of the challenges and priorities we are facing here from the IT perspective point of view. Ken.
Thank you, Mauricio. So Ben, as you listen to those opportunities and you think of what we have in Singapore, what do you think we can do to encourage more Singaporean companies to come over and see what we can do then, help out?
Yeah. So I think that Mauricio mentioned one point about finding the right skills and the right workforce. I think this is a global issue. Companies, especially tech companies, not just in Latin America, not just in Southeast Asia, everyone is facing a talent crunch. And if you think about a talent crunch, it is actually a resource issue. And I think resource issues are what startups face on a daily basis, how they kind of prioritize the different resources that they have within the companies. One of the pitches that I like to make both to Singaporean startups as well as Colombian startups is to focus on your core. And what do I mean by this? For startups, I think the default way to grow, because you do not always have enough resources, that could be in the form of manpower, or it could be in the form of cash flow, is really to partner other startups or partner other service providers that might have the, for example, cybersecurity solutions that you need, or that might have the cloud platform solutions that you need, so that you can focus on your core and really have your full development force focus on building up your core technology, your core product, and then after that, pitching and selling that. the good thing about working with different providers is that you usually would be taking on someone's call as a service provided to you, and they will be constantly improving on that. And that is why I think the most natural way for startups to grow, even though we could be so far apart between Colombia and Singapore, is to form partnerships between each other. The other thing that Mauricio mentioned that was also very interesting is about the better value for IT investment. And I think that is where I think the technologies that work in Southeast Asia have a very good product market fit for what could work in Colombia as well. So if you look at and this one actually comes from Stefan. So I'm stealing talking points from Stefan. So if you look at the kind of situation, or you look at the tech development that are in both markets, it is very similar. The price point at which startups are willing to pay for solutions are also pretty similar. Often you can find maybe top tier solutions, maybe from Israel, from US, and from Europe, but those might not be cost effective. So,
okay, thank you. So is that why Stefan is sitting next to you?
Correct.
Yeah, but now I have nothing to say anymore as he stole all the talking points.
No, he still has a lot.
Oh, but Stefan, it was interesting. You mentioned that you helped 10 Singaporean companies. Could you share maybe your profile and then specifically, how do you help them land in Colombia?
Yeah, so what we've seen is that maybe adding to the points that Ben was mentioning. So first of all, I believe there's still a long road to go in terms of creating awareness in Southeast Asia for especially among Singaporean companies to enter into Latin American market. I think that and events like these help a lot for sure. And we're having a great year with everything that's going on in the Pacific Alliance partnership. So this is basically great tailwinds. But from our conversations, we always noticed that it's not yet really top of mind, Latin America. Despite the striking similarities that exist and despite the blue ocean scenarios that we have in many competitive spaces here in many areas of technology in Colombia, for instance, no? So this is one. And maybe some of the key learnings that we've seen from Singaporean companies trying to enter, it's a few things. So first of all, the company has to have achieved a certain level of maturity. So it doesn't, I mean, this might sound obvious, but sometimes we see founders that are overly ambitious and obviously like to conquer the world, so to speak, no, from the very beginning. But where we see a sweet spot, basically, and where we see most chances are with companies that have typically grown out of the, let's say, startup phase and have entered into a scale-up moment. Yeah, and this in terms of venture rounds might be called A+, B, something like this. But independent of the terminology, it basically means the company is at a stage where it has robust processes at home, has credential customers, has references and in Asia or elsewhere, and is ready to bring this over to Latin America. In this case, the likelihood of success is much greater than basically when the company is trying to struggle and come up with their own internal issues on the other side of the world. So because usually what do local companies ask for in the very beginning, if you're proposing a solution from somewhere else, who else is using this? So where is this being used in Asia? Show me your customers. Why should I be the first one to use this? So those are kind of maybe obvious things I'm saying, but we hear this time and time again. No? And then obviously it's a question of most of the times, and depending on your business model, differentiation, whether it's B2B or B2C, but it's about finding the right local partners. which is sometimes a difficult exercise. And also if you're in a B2B space and you're looking for a reseller or a distributor or somewhere, this curation process of someone locally that fits to you is not necessarily an easy exercise, giving some cultural barriers and time distances and all that. So this is where we try to help also and see, you know, who can be a fitting, who is a vetted partner, no? Because the trust is everything and reputation is everything. So who can be the right partner, the right moment, and to establish, be it a JV, be it a commercial relationship of some sorts. So and have these kinds of discussions and facilitate them. If you have a trusted partner sitting on the table, makes most of the time a big difference than just on Zoom calls, no?
I mean, that's very practical and sound advice. It goes beyond Colombia. It fits in anywhere in the world. So maybe coming to you, Mauricio, is there anything unique about Colombia that Singaporean companies need to be aware of? And what should we be doing differently besides learning to speak Spanish, maybe?
Okay, Colombia is like a market that has been growing in the last decades, and that's something important to consider. And it's becoming itself like an important IT provider for the region. So basically, if you are thinking about Colombia and comparing with Peru or with Ecuador or with other countries in Central America, normally country is like a reference for them. So it has like an important relevance regionally. So that's something important to consider. And that's when what Stefan said about having good competencies or experiences or qualification is pretty relevant here, because we normally work with many countries or international teams. So we are aware of managing different services providers from around the world. So it's really important to be well prepared. And additionally, because our culture, we tend to negotiate like everything, right? So we are always willing to have the best for a really low price. So that's something important to consider as well. I'm talking about our cultural way of thinking. So basically what I'm saying is that it is important to have like a good preparation, a good sense of success cases at hand in order to convince our market to like about the value that Singapore companies can provide here. So I think that's something important. And for sure, as I said, the opportunities here in Colombia are covering different markets. We have been growing in health industries, in financial and fintech industries. Government is as well a good opportunity here as a sector. Telecommunications, oil and gas, energy. So there are many markets here that are expanding, and this is like a good way to approach like offering a specialized solution for these industries, you know, because that's something important too. For example, agro industry is as well another industry that is important. So maybe in these industries, for sure, Singapore may have like a really good experience to show here, because something similar happened to Singapore many years ago when Singapore grew a lot in similar industries as well. So like trying to replicate this growth that Singapore already may experience here in Colombia is like a good opportunity as well.
Good, thank you. I mean, one of the key challenges most tech companies face is actually talent. I think you all have raised that and talked about that in a moment. So, Stefan, can you give us a sense of availability of talent in Colombia and the quality of talent?
Yeah, so I would say this is one of the strengths of Colombia on a regional scale, even to say the talent pool, meaning basically the ratio between performance and cost, if you want, yeah, stands out in Colombia. So for some reason, the proportion of Colombian unicorns or Colombian founded unicorns in the region is higher than the one in Mexico or in Brazil, for instance. Even those are much bigger countries in that sense. So Colombia does have a skilled labor force. It also has competitive salaries, competitive from an employer perspective, making it very attractive to either source, let's say, IT developer, for instance, on that sense, but also find more high-skilled and maybe founder level, C-level level people. We see this many times that, for instance, Colombian founders build an MVP out of Colombia and then move on and establish themselves, physically establish themselves in Mexico or in Brazil to conquer larger internal markets in the end. But I would definitely stretch the point and say that Colombia within Latin America has one of the highest skilled labor force. Yeah.
And just which city would that be, or any city in Colombia?
So look, again, here you have to also differentiate on who you're looking for and what kind of skill. So it's obvious to say that principal cities such as Bogota, such as Medellin, have the highest concentration of available executives and so forth and so forth. At the same time, we see that, especially on the IT development side, people all over the world start to work remotely. So we can almost say that even in mid-size or small-size city in Colombia, you'll find available developers ready to work remotely. And then even as their cost of living is lower compared to the principal cities, even on more competitive terms, yeah, from an employment perspective.
That's good. When I was talking to the ambassador to Colombia, I said I was interested in setting a Cartagena. Then it goes, that's like setting out a development center in Bali. What's wrong with that? And yeah, moving then, if talent and availability of talent opportunity is there, what do you think Enterprise Singapore can do to help spread the message more in Singapore?
So I think first thing is webinars like this to help Singapore companies also understand what's going on in Colombia. I think one of the main messages that I think we want to also share that we have not really covered today is that Colombian corporates are very organized. So they are very organized in a way, they are very structured, they are very international. They tend to have presence throughout the region, sometimes in Europe and in US as well. These Colombian companies, such as, for example, Nutresa, that's headquartered in Medellin, Grupo Sura, that's also headquartered in Medellin, Banco de Bogota, for example. These companies, all of them, they have an innovation arm, and they are sourcing for innovation, not just within Colombia, not just within Latin America, but worldwide as well. Having said that, I think it makes a lot of sense for Singapore companies to partner with the local ecosystem, and the local ecosystem could involve entities like WUTA-N. WUTA-N is very similar to Block 71. That can help you partner with local enterprising entrepreneurs or startups so that your solution can be customized, can be localized for the local market. I think there are a lot of advantages on building partnerships and not trying to sell your solutions direct to the large corporates. sometimes you might think, yeah, but if I get a partner, it will increase the cost. But it also helps you to reduce the cost of delivering the product or service because you have a partner that speaks the language, that is able to follow up on the deals, have face-to-face meetings in market, which today is again increasingly necessary. So I think that these kind of partnerships are something that I want to market to Singapore companies and Singaporeans as one of the ways to eventually win the larger end client that could be what we call multi-Latina. So it's like a MNC that came out from Colombia.
So thanks, Ben. I think what you say, so how do we then do that and make it like a living platform for connections, not just a webinar, right? How do you keep going? I think that's interesting. How do we get, also on that note, get more Colombian companies to come to Singapore? Mauricio, Ben, Stefan, would you like to take that? From what Ben just I said, Colombians are very organized, very systematic. So why aren't you looking more at Singapore and using Singapore as a gateway for Asia?
Yeah, so I think there are really good examples. Juan Franco, who is Colombian, after payment test, his startup that he started in Colombia, that's throughout Latin America. He started Cuco, which is in Colombia, and then the next market is in Vietnam, but he's doing that out of Singapore. So I think that there are really some Colombians that have really caught on to this trend and are looking at that. Why come to Singapore if you are a Colombian startup and you're expanding in the region? I would say two things. First, the market that you address is very likely to be similar. So the products that you produce, usually that you find good product market fit in Asia. Two of the markets that are very similar with about 700 million people, rising middle class, fast growth, similar consumer trends, buy now, pay later, everything, are actually Latin America and Southeast Asia. So by doubling your addressable market, by so-called attacking another market, you effectively, I would say, at least double your valuation. The other thing is when you start having operations in Singapore for Southeast Asia and you start getting market traction, you can also tap on another financial market, which is Singapore. So I would say that overall in Singapore versus Latin America, for now, we still have higher valuations for startups that are doing the same or similar things. We have a very strong, and in a very small concentrated market like Singapore, a lot of family offices, your VCs, your private equity firms. So I would say financing is one of them. And then the other one is you effectively double your addressable market. So do come to Singapore.
Good. And I need to add one more. We have good food as well. Mauricio, Ben, Stefan, anything to add on that point? If not, I've got a question here from Gustavo. I'm not sure. I think just either for Stefan or Mauricio, the answer is, are there special economic zones for companies to set up, and what are the benefits?
I didn't quite hear.
Are there special economic zones within Colombia?
Well, yes, there are. I believe there's. I'm not a lawyer though, but I'm from my understanding is there are in fact two types of free trade zones, so to speak. One specialized for a company, tailor made, and one in a physical space. So there are tax incentives to do so depending on the sector where you are in. More on the traditional side. There are many of these zones in the outskirts of larger cities. So definitely it would be worthwhile. I think we have the experts from Brigade and Urrutia and PwC here to guide you through this if there's an interest.
Maybe I can add on to that. So Colombia is actually known as a very big BPO hub, business processing, business process office. So a lot of international companies, including one from Singapore, has set up in Colombia. And from what I understand is that you can apply for a license, and if you're serving clients internationally, you basically get the tax exempt status. So it's like operating out of a free trade zone for the IT services industry. So Gustavo, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, Mauricio, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was going to say that there are many technology parks here and innovation centers here that has been developed in the last years. And that represents an opportunity for many companies to integrate their capabilities and skills to their innovation centers and technology parks. For example, in Medellin recently, the government started the Industrial Revolution Innovation Center. And there are many companies from many countries working and developing new solutions, developing applications supported on emerging technologies. So these kind of initiatives for sure are intended to integrate different vendors, different services to create an ecosystem in the providing different services. And that's the way we are looking at the solutions now as an ecosystem that is composed from different services, solutions from different parts of the world, you know? So there is like an opportunity here for many countries and specifically to Singapore in order to integrate and to be part of this ecosystem here in Colombia as well.
Good. Gustavo, I hope that answered your questions. Maybe you just jump on a plane and go to Bogota or Medellin and go find out.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Not Cartagena. I won't approve the trip.
Oh, I thought the special economic zones were in Cartagena again. Sorry.
We are coming to the end because we have a hard stop at 10:30. Has anybody else got any questions for the panel? If not, I would like to just close up by asking each of the panelists to give maybe last words of advice to either Singaporeans or Colombian companies, so that we take it as a key takeaway as we think about how we can progress business opportunities between both countries. Let me start with Mauricio first. Mauricio, what are your thoughts? Last thoughts and advice?
Yeah, maybe I will say that it is important to have this kind of spaces precisely to know more about the capabilities from both Colombian companies and Singapore companies and how to interact with each other. Because maybe the challenge is to have this visibility about the Singapore's capabilities or about the Colombia's capabilities in order to work together. I think these kind of spaces can help giving that visibility that is essential in order to have these ways of working together and to contribute to this technology ecosystem as a union. So I think that this is critical and this can help a lot in order to know more about these opportunities for both countries.
Good, thank you. Stefan?
Yeah, so to Singaporean companies, first of all, recognize that Latin America is a heterogeneous region. Don't treat each country alike, just as in Southeast Asia. Try to make up your mind very well, which is a key market to entry. Colombia can be an excellent choice. Depends on your business model. So do the homework first and don't consider everything as a big whole, even though there are similarities between the countries. Recognize there's idiosyncrasies as well. Do a self-assessment, self-analysis. Am I at the right stage already to do so? And then contact many of the partners that are here available and looking to help and looking to foster these relationships. Yeah.
Good. Very sound advice. Ben?
For me, it'd be more or less one word, partnerships. I think partnerships are very important working across the globe. For Colombian companies coming to Southeast Asia, find a Singapore partner. For Singaporean companies coming to Latin America, find a Colombian partner. So case in point, Enterprise Singapore, we also have a partnership with Latin Leap to help Singapore companies come into the market. It's called Leap to Let M. And we hope that, we form these kind of partnerships to really help, in a sense, for that case specifically to help Singapore companies come into the market. But I think, even as a government, we also form partnerships to amplify the work and amplify the reach that we have. We also have a partnership, Sandra's not in this chat room, but we also have a partnership with Colombia through an MOU where we also support tech and innovation companies from both sides coming to both regions. So focus on partnerships, find good partners, use partners like Latin Leap to help you identify, curate, filter suitable partners in the region.
So very, very sound advice both ways. I think for Colombian companies, when I come to Singapore, I think the embassy here is also very active. I see the ambassador. In the last week, I saw the ambassador twice. So that shows you how active it is, helping network and grow relationships. I think for Singapore companies, you want to go over there, you have Stefan, you have Mauricio. I think ESG will also help us as we go out. As we are almost bang on 10:30. Anybody's got any last burning question? Because there's so few of us, you can just switch on your mic and we have a chat.
Yep.
If not, just before I end, I'm going to ask not a loaded question, but a very of the 4 Pacific Alliance countries, which is the best one to do business in for tech? Mauricio.
He's biased. He's Colombian.
He's biased. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's well. Are you going to answer, Mauricio? No. Or Stefan?
For sure, Colombia is the best.
Stefan?
All right. Yeah. I think on a serious note, it depends on your business model, depends on many factors, depends on the competitive environment for your specific solution and so forth and so forth. I think in the end, all the 4 countries, 4+ countries of the Pacific Alliance hold opportunities. Colombia, taking the bait, has obviously a geographically ideal location towards the north and the south, and for all the good reasons that we discussed in terms of sufficient internal market, strong labor force, competitive pricing, interesting corporates to partner with, can be in a great test bed market if you want, or beachhead market sometimes.
And just to add, for sure, from the serious point of view, it is important to analyze the market opportunities because, okay, there are many competency as well in some markets. So it is important to understand where you can play and where you can find a realistic opportunity. Because, for example, in some fields, there is a lot of local competency with good capabilities, with good experience that maybe is not the best field for you to come here and find a really competitive market that is really difficult to enter. But there are really important spaces as well when we don't have the right capabilities or the right experience, and are those specific fields the really opportunities that it is important to find and to consider. So for sure, all of the countries have similar situations, but here in Colombia, there are some, as I was saying, some important industries that are growing, where we for sure need a lot of support from other countries, and this is a really important way to find real opportunities for Singapore.
So very sound advice from all my panelists. I want to thank them. Be practical, form partnerships. I think that the key they keep coming out is form the right partnerships, make the connections, and then make the right choices. Don't just jump in. I think Stefan summed it up carefully. Is you need to do your proper assessment and jump in. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, panelists, for the healthy discussion. I think we are excited. I'm on my way to Latin America in 2 months' time. I think, yeah, 2 months' time. And we'll see. I wish. I have a staff called Gustavo Davies who works me very hard. So unfortunately, I don't think so. But it's, as a Singaporean company, it's been in Latin America. I think this is a really exciting space. We are seriously looking at Colombia. I think looking at it from a point of view of business opportunity as well as a source for talent, because I think talent is key for everyone. All right, so thank you, and good night for people in Singapore, and good morning for the people in Latin America. Felipe, you want to say anything else to close?
Everything was said. Thank you so much, everybody, for this awesome conversation. I hope everybody enjoyed and took your notes about what to do, what not to do there in Colombia.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Bye.